Alright guys, Quantum here, and in this video we're going to take a look at what a budget option in the Synchro event might look like, and funny enough, it's actually related to one of the loaner decks, and that is Ghoti. Now you might be thinking, why would I spend anything to build Ghoti if I could just play the loaner deck? Because the loaner deck comes with the core engine, it has some nice additional ultra rares like Assault Synchron, Gold Sark, it has imperms, called buys, and even the field spell that's ultra rare. And then of course the extra deck has two of the Deep Beyond. It's got Trishula synchros and like additional stuff like the Dragite and the Chen Ying. So this is a pretty good, investment air quotes for a free deck because you get a lot of ultra rares. The problem is you don't have Max C, you don't have Ash Blossom, you don't have other relevant hand traps that you will definitely be facing up against when you play this this deck. So we're going to take a look at what it might take to craft this deck and how you can tech it out. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. So to actually make this deck a little bit more competitive, like I mentioned, you will want to play hand traps, and this is the version that I put together. You can see that it is very similar to the loaner deck, but we have a lot more options in terms of additional imperm. So instead of 2, we play 3. We're playing board breakers and dark ruler and evenly matched because speedroids and them putting up their big synchro negate monsters will be a thing in this event, and their extra deck is very expensive, whereas this one won't be that expensive. And the hand traps that, again, you should already have crafted because they are staples, things like Call by the Grave, Max C, and Ash Blossom. In addition to that, this is a synchro event, right? How many times do I gotta say it? There's going to be a lot of summoning. It's combo heavy, so if you can play Nibiru and you have them, you definitely want to play them in this format, I think. So how does this deck differ from the loaner version? Well, this one also plays a different set of supplemental cards to support the Ghoti cards, which facilitate your synchro summoning with these kind of level 4 Silent Angler, free special summon, Shatana, free special summon, Lifeless Leaf Fish, which I think the loaner version also played. But in the extra deck, it's pretty much the same. Like, they're playing the same fish synchros. You don't have to play Dragite. I just happen to have one on this account, so it's an ultra rare that you don't necessarily need to play. But you can also play additional support cards. Like, you don't have to play Chen Ying. You probably want to play a Baron as your Synchro 10 if you're not locked into the fish. And the Ice Jade card is also a nice addition as well. So how is this deck free to play? Not free to play, but budget friendly, Quantum. There's a lot of ultra rares. I'm making this deck. You're not convincing me to just not use the loaner. Well, if you actually take out the hand traps and you just go with the core engine of the deck, like what does it actually take to, just straight up build the deck as is. Like, this is it right here in terms of the main deck. It's 20 cards. And of those 20 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 super rares. You don't need the field spell. It's just an additional extender. It doesn't actually really help you do anything unique, in my opinion. So you can cut I wasn't even playing it when I was testing out this deck. I only put them in there because I had 2 copies from opening this pack. But they in this event it might be a little useful, but definitely not needed. So if you haven't cracked open the Synchronized Cosmos and you don't have those Ghoti field spells, you definitely don't need to play them. As for the extra deck, you can get away. You need probably 2 of this, which is again super rare. So now you're up to 8 super rares. You can make a White Aura Whale if you want. Keep in mind that this card can miss the timing because it's a when card. Thank you to some people in my comment section pointing that out, because I was wondering why people were summoning this against me and it wasn't blowing up my field. And then I realized, or I asked, sorry, in one of my videos, and people responded in the comments that when you synchro summon this during the opponent's turn, it actually misses timing or something like that. So you may or may not want to play this. This is just a normal. Again, these are just more Ghoti cards that you get in the Synchronized Cosmos. If you open up like 5,000 gems worth of that pack, you'll get all of the super rares, probably no problem. You probably want to craft a Vermilion Tech Dragon, so this is not available in the loaner, but this card can actually be kind of useful if you do Synchro 9, because you just banish a tuner from hand or graveyard, which again goes well with the engine of this deck, despite it being a fire machine, I think, yep. But yeah, it's useful for that. Then you just target 1 card in the field and destroy it. So easy spot removal. The Ravenous Croco Dragon, I think, is also available in the loaner version, but you don't have Barons. So if and most people have this crafted already, it's just a really, really solid card overall. So you throw a Baron in there. You can make a case to play Chen Yang. It's probably worth playing. So if you have the resources to craft this, or you play Sword Soul at some point and you have this already, throw it in there. And then you just need mainly just one of the Ghoti cards. Having two is just insurance. And then the Ice Jade again, just because I have it from opening the Synchronized Cosmos, but you probably won't ever summon it because, you know, at this point you're playing like 5 different Synchro 10s. You really, or 4 at least, and you just really need to focus on like 2 of them mainly, because this is your main card that you're going into to banish everything on the field. Then you bring this back and usually just go for game. So again, the core engine, 6 super rares in the main deck, 1, 2. You can argue you can even play like one of this, so like 1, 2, 3. You don't even need this card, but it's in there just because. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 super rares in addition to the 6 up here. Right, that's 11 super rares. That's 330 points worth. And then ultra rares, you should already have a Baron. If you don't, you craft it because you should have this card anyways. It's just a versatile card for any deck, and it's obviously one of the best cards in the game. And then just a Ghoti, so 1 ultra rare really, that you'd craft. And then, you know, if you wanted to craft 2, you could, or if you open up the pack and you got 1, you want to craft the second one, you could, or maybe even you got 2 ultra rares in the packs. And then the Chen Yang again, if you want just additional like big body options, banishing options, this card is also available. But again, the main reason you build this, it's again fairly cheap to play. Practice with it. It can be an interesting deck. A lot of people don't know how to play against it. I didn't even know how to play against it. That's why I built it, so I could learn how to play against it. And I realized it was very cheap to make. I opened up a couple of the synchronized Cosmos, mainly to try to get the Assault Synchron for future formats. Whoa, it should be legal. Yeah, there it is. And I got 2, so I happened to get all the Ghoti cards opening like 5,000 gems worth of packs. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll put this deck together. And then I realized how cheap it was actually to make. So use the power of the cards that you have already in the staple hand traps, and you know, you're gonna have a much better time with this deck, because it plays during your opponent's turn. It, you know, shuts down their plays, and it is quite an interesting deck. So hopefully this video was helpful in helping you see a decent budget option and why it can be budget. Again, there are tons of options for the Synchro event, much better options than this deck, but this is one of the dedicated Synchro decks that is actually not that expensive to play, and you can actually tech it out with a number of like tech options depending on what you have or what you want to craft. You know, if you have Adamancipator, because you played that in a previous format, you know, you probably have Drag Eyes. You just throw that in there, right? Like if you play Sword Soul, you throw in Baron and Chen Yang. You already have those made. So, you know, a lot of interesting, flexible options with this deck, which is really nice to see. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing this gameplay of this deck, stay tuned to the channel. We'll be posting that. Thank you again. If you've made it this far, Quantum is out.